another episode of Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Josh.
People alive in the streets of New York to get my shots.
You don't have to pull that hard. How are you?
I'm good. Weirdly, considering the topic of this episode, I literally actually just got back from doing a photo shoot on the streets, shooting LA for New York, actually.
Love it.
So, weirdly timely one for this one. How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. I just got back from Hawaii with my boyfriend Joel. It was his birthday, and so we went to Kauai, which was really beautiful and peaceful. Did a lot of swimming, a lot of hiking. Not much else to do there. It's very small.
Yeah, but
lovely.
It's stunning out there.
Beautiful. I mean, we saw sea turtles and big monk seals, and I saw a college friend who lives there, and it was really lovely. Very rejuvenating.
What I love about, I've never been to Hawaii, but I've done a lot of vacationing in the Caribbean and stuff like that. And I deeply love being in a place where the celebrity sightings of LA culture are not, oh my God, David Harbour's getting Starbucks over there. It's more like, oh my God, a seahorse. I much prefer that.
It's true. Well, there are only, I think it was 70,000 people who live on Kauai.
Damn.
And then another 20,000 tourists on any given day.
Jesus
but it's
Christ.
like a very small population. You can drive from one side of the island to the other in like an hour and some change. So really itty bitty. There's not even like little towns to really walk around and shop in. It really is. If you got 3 days in Hawaii, Kauai is great. But any longer, I would do some island hopping. That's my recommendation.
I'm glad you had a good time. Thanksgiving was lovely. We did a bit more of a low-key shindig this year. I always have to host. I always have to be cooking. And I feel like most years it's like banquet style, and we have a bunch of people come over. And it's all about feeding as many people as humanly possible. And I deeply love doing that. But this year, because we bought a Victorian dining table, we wanted to make use of our Victorian dining table. So it was a really curated menu. It was, only as many people as would fit around the table with like 2 leaves in it. And the house just looked absolutely stunning. Ivory and I took a lot of, like all month, basically buying like new pieces for Thanksgiving decorations and new dishware and stuff like that. And I made pie, I made ham, we made green bean casserole and all like the classics and stuff. And I bought little mini jello molds, like classic like 60s jello molds. And everyone got their own individual personalized jello mold at the end of dinner.
I love that.
It was super, super, super fun. And we just kind of like hung out and had a great evening. And it was very early. Ivory has been working at a boutique of late, so she was working on Black Friday. So we had to have like everything wrapped by like 6 o'clock. She was in bed by 10. So it was a very low key affair. Very, very chill. A lot of Prince music.
Oh, I love it.
A lot of low lighting. It was a really, really, really lovely time. Were you able to watch anything marvelous and spectacular?
Yeah. Yes.
In your little time away?
Well, on the plane to Hawaii, I watched that movie Sasquatch Sunset, which I was really curious about.
Oh, was that good? I haven't seen that yet.
It is. It's pretty it's a little bit annoying. It's like pretty sophomoric in a way, where it's like got a lot of like pooping and fucking and breast milk jokes and stuff. Like it's like scatological in a way. It is about Sasquatches, so I guess that makes sense. So if you don't like that kind of humor, it'll be really annoying. But then it's also pretty moving too. And I'll also say I really like movies that have no talking in them, but aren't silent films. You know what I mean? I mean, they like kind of grunt at each other and stuff like that, but there's no dialogue, and it made me feel peaceful. You're just in a beautiful forest for 2 hours in Canada or wherever. So I actually really liked it. And yeah, I recommend it. I also saw Luca Guadagnino's Queer.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that too, right?
Yes, I also saw that recently.
I wasn't that into it.
Me neither.
Okay, good. I thought this was going to be a whole thing.
I'm a huge Burroughs fan. William S. Burroughs is my favorite author, warts and all. And it's been a long time since I've read Queer. However, it's not front of mind as much as like Ticketed Exploded or Naked Lunch or Siege of the Red Knight are for me. However, watching his movie, I could only continually compare it to Naked Lunch, Cronenberg adaptation, because it literally takes whole passages that Naked Lunch is also doing, and it takes settings and characters that Naked Lunch is also doing in but in such drastically different ways, to the point that it feels like Guadagnino doesn't either get the text or so willfully doesn't care about the text that he's doing his own thing with it. And it does very odd things with the source and with Burroughs' life, kind of in the end, that kind of disregards him, his personality, and his writing in a way that's kind of like, then why'd you do this?
Yeah. I mean, I did like it. I gave it 3.5 stars, I think.
It's kind of where it is for me, too.
Yeah, I think all Guadagnino movies are really beautiful to look at. I will say, I saw it with my friend Christian, who's a really amazing artist. And when he came out, he's like, I got to say, I'm tired of seeing miniatures in movies, like miniatures as a theme in movies. And I was like, I kind of feel that. And also, I noticed that this movie had Bo Welch as its production designer, who's amazing and did like all of Tim Burton's classic movies. And he did a series of unfortunate events for Netflix.
And of course, he directed the Mike Myers film Cat in the Hat.
He sure did.
He's married to Catherine O'Hara.
Incredible production designer, but before I knew that, I did some sense that there was something a little bit more twee about the aesthetic of this movie than Guadagnino's other movies that felt a little weird.
And I don't think of Burroughs as twee by any stretch. Burroughs is actually like gritty and like disgusting.
Yeah. But Guadagnino is also an interior designer, so the interiors are really beautiful. As always, there was like a purple hotel room with a red door that I was like obsessed with. I think what's his Daniel the lead actor
Daniel Craig. James Bond.
James Bond. Daniel Craig is really wonderful in the movie.
He is very good in it. Jason Schwartzman is scene stealing in all of his side parts.
Did he gain weight for this movie, or is it a fat suit?
No, he gained weight. Yeah.
Whoa.
He gained weight for this and for Between the Temples.
That's crazy.
He kind of shot those back to back. Yeah.
Crazy.
He's incredible in it. He's like the best thing in the movie.
He is.
He's got the like spark and vitality and the like kind of language of Burroughs down pat. Meanwhile, and this is where I'm going to get super shady about the movie, Drew Starkey is at a 0. Nothing. He's giving nothing. He's trash. He's terrible in this. I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, you got Omar Apollo, who is both hotter and a better actor at the beginning of the movie. Who, like, I also didn't care for the music choices throughout the movie. I found them really
a little
cringe.
On the fence about them. I mean, I like some of that music because I'm the same age as Luca.
I love that music. However,
I love New Order and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm not sure that this.
It's a lot of Nirvana.
Yeah.
Which, like, Kurt Cobain liked Burroughs. They did like an album together. That's cute, but like,
yeah. But I will say, as soon as I saw the name Drew Droege, I went, "Aw!" Like,
me too.
is
Good
so
for him.
fabulous. Really deserves this. Drew's incredible, LA actor who's most famous for playing Chloe Sevigny on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But is extraordinarily talented and deserves to be a great big star. And I was really happy to see him, however small his role was.
I'm glad that he and Chloe Sevigny have both now been directed by Luca Guadagnino, though.
Yeah.
He's one step closer.
Yeah, I wonder what Luca Guadagnino thinks about his Chloe Sevigny version. I'm sure that they talked about it. I know that they must.
I'm sure he did it on set.
Yeah.
I had such high hopes for Queer. I wanted to love it so much. It was a big swing and a miss for me. It's disappointing as a Luca Guadagnino movie. It's disappointing as a Burroughs movie. And I thought those were two things that would work well together, and they are oil and water. Sorry, but
I still think it's worth watching. It's pretty, and Daniel Craig is amazing. And I do like movies that are about lonely people, I realized watching this. And I like movies where I like love stories where someone loves someone that doesn't love them back.
Me
I don't know why. I'm just so drawn to those stories.
I deeply love and connect to an unrequited love story. I just feel like Drew Starkey needed to give even an inch of a performance to make that work. And I also think, is this too long? It's a Burroughs novella. It's too long, dude.
It's also just like I felt about Challengers. It has no climax. Just like the same thing I felt about Challengers.
It just like jumps ahead and ends. And in doing so, it like attempts Burroughsian surrealism at the end in a way that I think doesn't stick the landing, and also uses a major event from his real life and abstracts it in a way that I feel like is kind of flippant and insensitive. But
interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, that's what I saw. How about you?
Well, speaking of queer films and queer authors and texts that were super big in the 90s, I went to the newly reopened Egyptian Theater this past week to revisit one of my favorite movies. Also, a queer yearning movie about one person in love with someone else that does not love the other person back. My Own Private Idaho.
Oh, cool.
And you know what movie is a motherfucking 10? My Own Private Idaho. Flawless on every fucking point.
I'm due for a rewatch of that. I haven't seen that since like college, so I barely remember it.
It's one that when I was in high school, I watched maybe weekly, if not every day. And also when I was in college, and it was the first movie that I watched when I moved to LA. I watched it on my laptop and was just like, I'm here and I can like live my River Phoenix fantasies. And I hadn't seen it since then, and I've been trying to share it with Ivory since it's a really, really personal and special movie to me that like emotionally just tears me up inside, while also from like a cinematic and filmmaking standpoint is kind of like my North Star in a lot of ways. It's like the language of it is just entirely unique, like nothing else, and really magnetic to me. And I've been wanting to show her for a long time, and they were screening at the Egyptian, and we rolled up and there was like barely anyone else there.
Really?
There was like maybe 10 other people.
Whoa.
It was like a Monday.
How strange. Oh, maybe that's why.
But also the staff of the Egyptian were like, yeah, it's dead here a lot of the time unless it's Beyond Fest or something, or unless like a special guest is coming. They're like, if you ever want to see a movie and not have to deal with a crowd, come here. So very good to know. If you're sick of weird audiences at the New Bev or Vidiots, just go to the Egyptian.
Maybe people just aren't used to it being back.
I think that's the case.
It's also out of people's rotations, you know?
Yeah, but they've got great programming. Next month, in like this next coming week, they're showing Young Girls of Rochefort. They're showing Velvet Goldmine. Like literally their programming is like almost the exact same as like what Brain Dead is doing a month after. Like,
right,
it's pretty spot on for a better theater and a better theater going experience. They showed Idaho on 35mm and it looked absolutely gorgeous. I fucking adore that movie. And I was a little worried about like, oh, maybe it won't work for me this time, but no, every single beat worked, if not better than the time I'd seen it before. But watching that movie now does make me a little melancholy outside of the nature of the movie itself. Both thinking about River Phoenix's life and career in relation to it, but also Gus Van Sant's career in relation to it, because barring like To Die For, it's kind of his last good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Elephant's interesting, and Milk is serviceable, but like Mala Noche is great and really unique, and Drugstore Cowboy is incredible, and like nothing else. And then My Own Private Idaho is one of the most original and expressive American independent films ever made. And then the remake of Psycho and Jerry and Last Days and like a bunch of Matt Damon movies and that Japanese Suicide Forest movie. And
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, for A24 with Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
It's just such a bummer that like he had such an incredible cinematic language that was like no one else. And then he got really into, what if we made movies like video games and you just followed people walking around for 2 hours?
I'm okay with that. Some of my favorite movies are just people walking around for 2 hours. But I will say, like, you know, Mark Maron says to his guests, like, who are your guys? Like, Gus Van Sant is not one of my guys. Like, I don't think about him. So, yeah, I haven't watched My Own Private Idaho in 20 years. I'm due for a rewatch because I did love that movie when I watched it. I also enjoyed Elephant. I also, you know, I mean, I've enjoyed his.
I do like Elephant. But they don't. Not one I can rewatch, but I do like Elephant. I get it. Gus Van Sant's run in the late 80s and early 90s are some of my favorite movies ever made. Like this, To Die For, Drugstore Cowboy. I haven't seen Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, but I really need to.
It's fun. It's funny.
I think about these movies all the time, and I kind of mourn the loss of 90s Gus Van Sant so much. He was like such a wild and energetic, kind of abrasive B-side to Todd Haynes, and a really, like, to be able to achieve like almost experimental film next, like, and then cut straight into Shakespeare, and then cut straight into documentary, and then back into like surrealism, and then into grounded like romance, all within the span of like 10 minutes, and it works. Meanwhile, you've got Keanu Reeves and Grace Zabriskie and Flea and Udo Kier. Like, few things can be as special as Idaho, and I think maybe I just need to accept it as a one-off gem and just hold it and love it dear.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
The 90s was a great film decade. I mean,
it was a good time.
Up there with the 70s as like a good decade for movies.
Well, it was an era of reinvention, and the home video boom was changing things, and Sundance and all those festivals had just started picking up steam, and there was an audience for you know, the new indie boom of like Kevin Smith and Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, and you know, all those Christine Vachon produced new queer cinema movies, and Watermelon Woman and all that stuff. It was really like blowing up, and then as much as all those great Francis Ford Coppola and Scorsese and Michael Cimino movies were run out of town by Jaws and Star Wars, all of those movies were then run out of town by Spider-Man and 9/11. Like,
yeah. Well, today we are not talking about the 90s. We are talking about the 70s, as we often do.
God damn it. Let's fucking go.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time, from 1978, directed by Irvin Kershner, from a script by the legendary John Carpenter. It is The Eyes of Laura Mars.
breathtaking models, and the beautiful people. Academy Award winner Faye Dunaway is photographer Laura Mars. Her work, the subject of controversy. Tommy Lee Jones is Detective John Neville, intrigued by her photographs for his own reasons.
These are police photographs. They are strictly our own material. They were never published anywhere at all. So my question is very simple.
Why are my photographs so much like yours?
That's right.
Somewhere between the sensations of high fashion and the precise form of her art lies another dimension, unexplored, unexpected.
Please tell me we're queuing up the theme song.
God, I love the theme song. Prisoner by Barbara Streisand.
I need a prisoner.
I don't even know where to start with this movie. I saw it, maybe 20 years ago for the first time. It's a very Josh movie. Yeah. It's like foundational to everything I love and who I am. I have a list of fashion horror movies on Letterboxd because of this movie. I love basically everything about it. But why don't you start us off? What is your relationship to this movie?
I mean, first of all, whenever I think of this movie, I think of you. And whenever I think of you, I very soon after think of this movie. For me, the triumvirate of Joshua Conkel movies is Let's Scare Jessica to Death, Rosemary's Baby, and Eyes of Laura Mars. And we're finishing the trilogy on this podcast at long last. Yeah, I probably saw this 5 or 7 years ago for the first time. Obviously, got to it both by Carpenter, Faye Dunaway, and then my love of Italian giallo movies. Whenever you talk about or investigate into American giallo movies, you're kind of in this very specific bracket of late 70s American movies that the giallo movie had filtered into a little bit of East Coast filmmaking enough that we got this, Cruising, Dress to Kill, kind of Windows, and
people
a few
will
other
say
films.
Alice Sweet Alice sometimes.
Alice Sweet Alice, definitely. So there's this tiny window of time and a little bit, and I don't know why, but they're almost always shot and based in New York and on the East Coast. And this one is the most prestigious and big budget of all of them. It's fucking produced by John Peters, of Barbara Streisand, Licorice Pizza fame, but also the producer of Batman. In Wild Wild West. He's a big fucking producer. And it's directed by Irving Kershner, who directed fucking Star Wars.
Right. This was his breakout movie. He directed Indies before this, and then what's his face, the Star Wars guy? I can't remember anyone's name.
George Lucas.
George Lucas, thank you.
Yeah.
Saw this and liked it so much that he gave him the job of directing Empire Strikes Back, which is widely known to be the best Star Wars movie.
Very much so.
Arguably, but widely thought to be.
And then also RoboCop 2.
RoboCop 2, another banger.
But before this, he directed one of my favorite Barbra Streisand movies, Up the Sandbox. Which is very also kind of gritty New York, while also being kind of very expressive and surreal. Up the Sandbox would be a good double with either the Sex and the City movie or Problemista, and I can't decide which one's better as a double bill. But he was very much a Jordan man director and is now known as a star. But from a cast perspective, obviously John Peters wanted Barbra Streisand to do this John Carpenter screenplay a year after Halloween. She said no, both unfortunately and fortunately.
Right. She thought
we
it
only
was
get
too
the song.
Sleazy. But she's like, I will record that song though. That's a banger. And she's right.
But we get fucking Faye Dunaway like at the peak of her talents, pre-Baby Jane, Mommy Dearest, rather.
Mommy Dearest.
But post-Network, right after the Oscar for Network, she does Eyes of Laura Mars. And we also get baby Tommy Lee Jones, a young Raul Julia who's credited as RJ, Brad Dourif, and making his like third or fourth appearance on this show, Renee Auberjonois.
Who I always want to call Renee Aubergine, which is what British people call eggplants.
It's absolutely so. Again, like also like it's Brad Dourif right after Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Not
too
and
long
he's
after.
Really scraggly, and this
handsome.
This might be his sexiest role for me.
It might be.
Like
it might be for me too.
But oh no,
I don't know. I think it is for me as well.
And so all of those things mixed together in a way that I was worried about seeing this movie because it's got pretty mixed reviews. It didn't do super well when it came out, and it's gone a bit of a cultural resurgence of late, but only within certain audiences. Some people are still
it's a very small cult following, I would say.
Yeah, you've got to be in for it to be in for it. And I am, and I always have been. I adore this movie. I don't think the ending works as well as the rest of the movie. But that could either be down to screenplay or casting, and we'll get into that later.
I know you have a spicy hot take about the casting.
I do have a hot take about the casting that would make the movie better, but I also know that 1978 Columbia Pictures wouldn't do that, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think this movie's marvelous. Again, it's written by John Carpenter, and he just sold it to John Peters in Columbia. And I know he's constantly bemoaning that was a mistake, and he should have made it himself. He should have made it independently, but he needed the money. Yeah. But like, and I would love to see a gritty John Carpenter version of this. However, the thing that makes this movie so interesting is that it is a glossy, big budget movie.
Exactly.
And that contrasted with the sleaze of it makes it as good as it is.
Yeah. John Carpenter wrote this presumably to direct himself as an independent feature. John Peters got involved and decided it would be better as like a big Hollywood picture. So they hired a screenwriter to do a rewrite on it. It had a bigger budget. It had all these stars. And so it became this big studio picture instead. A lot of people will talk about how they want to see the John Carpenter version. And I would be curious about that too. But I love this movie as it is. I think it's beautifully directed. And I'm not sure that John Carpenter knows anything about the subjects that make this movie really amazing, like fashion and disco and all these queer people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't associate those things with John Carpenter, who I love. And this is not a knock on him at all. But it's like, I don't know if John Carpenter knows anything about fashion or, I mean, he wrote this script. So I guess he knows something, but it just, I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy for this.
I know he wrote it like in the early 70s, and then there was a lot of time in between the writing. And
that makes sense, because it would have been more about rock and roll, and it would have been about, like that sort of stew.
Yeah, I kind of can feel John Peters' grubby little hands on this a little bit. For those who don't know, John Peters started out as one of the most sought-after hairdressers in Hollywood, who was well known for having affairs with his clients, including Barbra Streisand, and then became famous as Barbra Streisand's boyfriend, and then used that clout to become a big producer and produce all of her projects, and then move on from there. The Warren Beatty movie Shampoo is entirely about him and is not pretending to not be. A lot of people fucking hate John Peters. He's still alive.
Yeah.
But apparently he's a good sport. So, I kind of can feel his fingers on there, making it more about the art scene and making it more about that world. This kind of would make a very interesting B-side to Shampoo, because they both kind of have like one artist in the middle of a circle of weirdos, as the bottom falls out on both their success and kind of the generation. Because that movie is about the end of the 60s, and this being made in the 70s, and this movie while being made at the end of the 70s, and it like from a guy who was about to go direct Star Wars right after Star Wars, it does feel like the end of that kind of adventurous studio movie era.
Yeah. One thing I think John Carpenter could have brought to the directing of this that would have been cool is his use of shadow.
Yeah.
So you think about the way that he treats Michael Myers in Halloween 78. That could have been really good for the killer here. You could give that killer in Dress to Kill. You know, you could have done some of that kind of stuff. And the way that he uses the tension between the background and foreground in Halloween could have been really cool here. So I think, I don't know, it just would be a different movie. And I love the movie that we've got.
Yeah, Kirscher doesn't seem as interested in the kill set pieces.
Yeah, totally.
As I feel like Carpenter would. There's not a lot of tension drawn out by that. I mean, there's a little bit of her like walking blindly in traffic, having just a moment,
and her silly little cap and her capelet.
But we'll get to the fashion of this movie in a minute. Yeah. But goddamn, every fucking look is incredible.
So synopsis wise, this movie follows a famous photographer, Laura Mars, who for the past year has been setting up elaborate scenes of murders for her fashion shoots. When we meet her, it's the opening of her big controversial gallery show in Soho. We come to understand that a lot of people take umbrage at her work. They feel it's glorifying violence, yada, yada, yada. You shouldn't use murder to sell deodorant, etc. And there she meets an investigative cop played by Tommy Lee Jones named John, who she has a conversation with. There's a spark. And at the same time, she starts to have visions of people she actually knows being murdered by a killer, and she's seeing through the eyes of the killer. And so increasingly she comes to understand that the murders somehow are revolving around her. And she's seeing all of them through the eyes of the killer. We have a number of red herrings. There's her driver, played by Brad Dourif. There's her agent, played by Renee Aubergine. There's
her driver's Brad Dourif.
Oh, what did I say?
Renee Aubergine is her manager.
Is the agent. Yeah. There's at least one more red herring. Oh, her boyfriend, Raul Julia, her ex-husband, rather.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a whodunit. And I don't know, that's it, right? It's set in the world of fashion and art. Everyone is super hot. The fashion is incredible. The movie uses disco music that's really good. Just tons and tons of style and glamour.
We also get with the opening of the movie, of course, is the book release party of her new art book and her new gallery, Eyes, literally called Eyes of Laura Mars.
Yeah.
Which the cover of her art book is the fucking poster of the movie, which is one of my favorite touches in any movie ever. But then we also later in the movie get her like working on multiple photo shoot setups, both at her loft and studio space, but then also in the middle of Columbus Circle.
Yeah,
fully shut down.
So good. That scene is
good.
So good. It's got like knocked over cars and fire and a big fountain going off, and women are pulling each other's hair.
They're wearing like just lingerie and then fur coats, and they're like not having all the photography is the most like lurid, like women in like just stockings, and then like the dead body of a man as the woman's holding like a switchblade or something. And shocker of shocker, they're all photographed by Helmut Newton.
Yeah, all of her photos are by Helmut Newton. They're incredible. I would pay a bajillion dollars for that book.
Yeah, the actual art book. Oh my god.
I love her photography too. First of all, I love any movie about photography. I love photographers. I love photography myself. I'm an amateur photographer. My mom is a professional photographer. I just love it so much. I love anytime she's doing a shoot because she's like low to the ground, even though she's wearing heels and a skirt and little capelets and shit. She's just like right there in it. I love this movie.
One of the like biggest filmmaking, especially storytelling tricks and difficulties, especially like no-nos that in like screenwriting classes they'll always tell you to avoid these things, is to make a character an artist in a way that they're successful, or a like sports player person, because you have to convincingly telegraph to the audience that they do this work and are so good at it that they are at this level. And so if you have a character that's like a painter, you need to be able to show those paintings actually being that good. If they're an actor, and they have to be on set, they actually need to be that good. Or if they're playing baseball, you can like cut away to inserts of someone else swinging the baseball bat and shit like that. But if they're like supposed to be a singer, they actually have to be a fucking good singer. And the genius move of this movie is they just got fucking Helmut Newton to do the photos, and they're goddamn incredible.
They're incredible.
Fully buy that not only would she be one of the most sought after photographers in the world, but that she would also have her own show, that she would also have her own art book, and that she would also be outrageously controversial. The entire walk up to her show at the beginning of the movie, she's being bombarded by critics left and right calling her misogynist, saying that she hates women and that her work is, you know, way too aggressive and full of violence and sexual imagery that's like not okay. And it's so interesting to see all of those things that, you know, 5 years later would be big talking points, both around horror movies at the time, but also would be interjected into Tenebrae and Body Double, because those things were being tossed at Brian De Palma and Dario Argento at the time, about a female creative, but also getting to see a movie about a female creative who's at the top of her field and does her job and does good work. And that's not an issue, and she's respected, and that's never an issue one way or another, and she's just good at her job, and she makes weird fucked up art, and that's her fucking bag. And so what if she has a weird clairvoyant link with a serial killer? That's just a plot.
I love watching her work in this movie, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
I love watching the character walk onto set and tell the hairdressers and the makeup artists exactly what she wants, and watching her work with the models. Like, she's just so confident in what she's doing. It reminds me of, like, if you've ever seen the documentary, the September issue about Vogue magazine, the movie is ostensibly about Anna Wintour, but she's such a nightmare human garbage person that you actually fall in love with Grace Coddington, who's like a cottage fairy that you love. And it's a little bit like watching Grace Coddington work on those photo shoots. It just feels like this woman who's in her element and is utterly in charge. And your point about the 70s and the reaction to her work is a good one, because in some ways the film, you know, it's 1978, probably released in 1979.
I think made in late 77 and then released in 78.
Released in 78,
yeah.
Got it. Well, in any case, it could only be a 70s movie, right? Like, this movie couldn't have come out in 1988 with this budget from a major studio, because the 80s are so much more conservative than the 70s are. So in some ways the reactions to her work feels like prescient of the 1980s to me.
Yeah, very, very much so. If this movie didn't have murder set pieces and a slightly supernatural connection to it, and it was just like a John Cassavetes movie about a lady photographer and her shitty ex-husband, and her driver might have a crush on her, and that's the movie.
I'd still love it just
I
as
would
much.
Still love it, and maybe I would even love it more. I don't know. If it was just like even just Jenna Rollins as a photographer lady for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'd be fucking sold. I'd be locked in.
So I tried to get the rights to write a remake of this from Sony, and they said no, they weren't interested, unless they were like, if David Fincher wants to do it, then sure. But I was thinking of this movie along the lines of Personal Shopper and Kristen Stewart. So like doing a Kristen Stewart Personal Shopper kind of take on the Eyes of Laura Mars, I think could be really cool.
I think that's great. I think grounding it like that a lot more is very much the way to do it. Well, and also Carpenter's original title for it was just Eyes.
Eyes, yeah.
Which is you remake it, you just call it Eyes.
Yeah, I mean that's my manager said. He's just like, just rip it off and call it something else. And I was like,
honestly, yeah.
I did write a musical that was partially inspired by this movie. It was a comedy horror fashion show musical that was in Brooklyn like 10 years ago. And it had 200 costume changes in it. Literally 200 costume changes, a cast of 15, 4 built-in runway shows. It was an all synth witch wave musical. It was called The House of Von Macrame. And so it was like sort of satiring this kind of movie. And it was about models who go away to a fashion designer's country house for the weekend, not realizing that he is like a vampire, a gay vampire who bathes himself in model's blood to live forever.
That's
so it was
awesome.
gore. It's so stupid, but it was like very much inspired by this. And God, I love this movie. Why aren't women wearing capelets everywhere?
I quite literally this past week was at one of my favorite boutiques in Magnolia Park in Burbank called Audrey K. Which you don't know Audrey K, please, ladies, go to Audrey K. It's the fucking best. And it's a lot of like it's new clothes that are inspired by 60s and 70s designs. And Josh, when I tell you how many capelets they sell.
Ugh. I love it.
And I don't mean have for sale. I mean sell. I almost bought one myself, and I had been spending so much money on Christmas gifts that day that I couldn't justify it. But maybe someone listening to this podcast could get me a caplet for Christmas.
There's a moment in the 2000s when I lived in New York that ponchos became very in style.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not quite the same. I do like a poncho, but it's not quite the same.
Like visual design of a poncho is very different.
Right. I think Carrie Bradshaw brought them back, and they're like the sort of knitted 70s, kind of like Afghan looking ponchos mostly is what they were. And I want very specifically like a wool British Burberry looking cape like she wears in this. This movie is so chic. Even the men are chic. Even Tommy Lee Jones, who plays a cop, is so chic. Like nobody asked him to wear all those turtlenecks and that beautiful overcoat. Even
Brad Dourif, who's like the scuzzy ex-con that's just driving her car, his little fucking like
little
round like leather bomber jacket.
He looks cunty as hell.
Oh my god.
He looks like one of the Strokes or something. Like he just looks great.
If you literally like if you could cut him out of his scenes and slap him into an episode of The Bear, everyone would be thirsting over 1978 Brad Dourif on fucking Twitter. I promise.
I mean, he looks like every dude from Silver Lake in the 2010s. His girlfriend would be dressed for Coachella all the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they bought a house in Joshua Tree. Like he looks like that.
Yeah.
Like, he makes furniture,
He's absolutely the guitarist in fucking like Slow Dive or something. Like,
totally. Yeah.
In like a shoegaze band that's just like he's on stage, he looks like he's about to go into the tundra despite the fact that he's baking under like concert venue lights, and he's just gonna like stare down at his guitar and pedal board for the whole fucking show.
Yeah. Raul Julia as well, wearing a lot of beautiful suits
and scarves. Oh my god.
I have a question about Raul Julia. He was Puerto Rican.
Yes.
Why does he talk like that? It seems to be his actual just normal voice, but he's American and Puerto Rican, right? So I'm like, where did you learn to talk like that?
I do not know, but I love him, and
I love him.
Obviously, I grew with him as Gomez Adams.
Sure.
Big time. But whenever he pops up in anything, I get genuinely excited. He's always like the best thing in the movie.
Yeah, incredible actor.
And this movie has a lot of incredible male actors in it.
Wait, this is a perfect time for you to give us your spicy hot take.
Oh, yes. So my spicy hot take about this movie is I think that the structure of this movie, and this is when we get into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen Eyes of Laura Mars, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Go to the Criterion channel, go watch it, go stream it, go buy a Blu-ray of it. It's very available.
Yeah.
The twist of the movie is the cop, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who kind of starts to form a relationship with Laura throughout the movie, is the killer, But in the final moments right before that, you're made to think that Raul Julia, her ex-husband, is the killer. And they should have flipped the casting of those two roles. Tommy Lee Jones should have been the skeezy con artist ex-husband that you think is going to be the killer but isn't. And Raul Julia should have been the cop that develops a romance with her and then turns out to be the killer. Because I would buy that so much more from them. Tommy Lee Jones, this whole movie feels so forced, and he does not have charisma with her, I think. Oh. And his killer reveal, now he's crazy performance is not ideal. When, by the 90s, Tommy Lee Jones was so good at giving those kinds of performances in, Batman Forever or Under Siege. But, I don't know.
I've never thought of that. I do think that she has better chemistry with Raul Julia in this movie.
Very much.
It does feel like they have fucked. It does not feel like she's fucking Tommy Lee Jones. I think Tommy Lee Jones is weirdly very handsome in this movie.
I think so too.
Person I find handsome generally, except for this and Coal Miner's Daughter. Really are the only movies that I think he's handsome in. So I like the casting, but I am sympathetic to your point, I guess.
I think it would be so compelling and so much more interesting. I don't think the ending reveal of him works. I think because of the small cast of characters that we keep it within the kind of Agatha Christie, it has to be one of them. Play fair rule of it becomes very limiting and becomes a little obvious. But then on top of that, the reveal is a little kind of
I don't think it works either, but I also just don't care because of all the
everything
tropes
else is
and
so
the style
good.
Of the movie.
Yeah.
And what I don't think, the reason I don't think it works from a writing perspective is that the character has been falling in love with Laura over the course of the movie. And so what they do at the end is reveal that he has a split personality.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make any sense. And it feels like it's trying to save the fact that it doesn't work in a clumsy way. But
the movie was heavily rewritten by a separate screenwriter.
Yeah.
After Columbia and John Peters bought it. So it feels like a lot of things happened and then they got to that ending. Bill Hader,
it's a Hollywood thing.
Bill Hader always talks about screenwriting as a game of mousetrap. Of you build the pieces up as you go, and then does the thing drop? Nope. All right, it didn't land in exactly that spot, so we need to retool these things so it lands there.
That's right. That's really smart.
And some writers will be like, "No, just build the thing, and then we're here. Ah, fuck. Okay, let's just cut this piece over and just move that. All right, done. Whatever. I'm finished. Get the fuck out of here."
The hard thing about that is that you, as the writer, will try to explain to these people, if you take out this part of the trap, then you have to change all these things before it. And they don't understand that. And they still insist on it. And so sometimes you're just fucked by these people being executives and producers and directors and actors.
But famously, John Peters is great to work with, right? He didn't get into a massive argument with Faye Dunaway for the whole production of this movie.
To be fair, I don't think Faye Dunaway is easy to work with either. You know what I mean? You're right in my eye line. Could you leave, please? Have you seen the Maya Rudolph skit that is based on that, where she plays an actress who is filming a commercial for Tip Top Coffee?
Yes.
She keeps stopping. It's so funny.
Oh my God. Do you remember the last thing Faye Dunaway did actually was that play?
Oh, no.
But I do remember that. Oh, I do remember that. But she, a few years ago, did a play in New York. And a friend of mine went to go see her and got a photo with her backstage. And then the next week, the show was shut down and she was fired for being outrageously abusive and homophobic to the,
she was slapping her people and calling her assistant that little homosexual.
Yeah.
Of course, gay men loved it because they're terrible. But it just it's so fun. I mean, she's a nightmare. And I have a question about her, actually. I love her, and I love her in this movie. I love her in a lot of movies. Do you think she's good? In an earnest
as
way?
An actor?
Yeah.
I genuinely do think she's a good actor.
I think that there's something that always works about her, but her performance always feels like an actor from a different earlier era. Like she's giving 1940s Hollywood.
Well, there's a reason she played Joan Crawford.
Right, exactly, because that's how she's always acting in every movie.
And also like there's a reason she's in Chinatown, but like I don't know. I think she's barely in 3 Days of the Condor, and that's a great movie, but her character is so underwritten and really kind of disrespected. The one to always go back to is fucking Network. I think her performance in Network is incredible. I think the characterization of her in Network is incredible. And that is the one that when people talk about Faye Dunaway as an actress, that's the fucking one. Chinatown's incredible, but Chinatown is like, you're playing into an era. Thomas Crown Affair is like, you just have to be hot and fuck Steve McQueen. Right. The job isn't that hard. Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde is an era. I don't like the southern accent she's doing in Bonnie and Clyde.
It's not good. But again, it's like it's giving old Hollywood.
But you know what she's great in, and that also gives a really grounded performance? Barfly.
I haven't seen that. I never saw that.
I don't think you would like Barfly, but she gives a very, very grounded performance in that. I mean, Towering Inferno might as well be like a TV special, considering the way the actors just show up for like one scene and stuff. She's very camp in the Three Musketeers movie. She's kind of doing the Joan Crawford thing again. The other one that I will say, and if you haven't seen this movie, Josh, what are you doing? You really need to go see it, because it's another fashion movie, just like Laura Mars, and it might be Faye Dunaway's best performance. Puzzle of a Downfall Child from 1970.
Never seen that. I don't know it.
It's the first movie directed by Jerry Schatzberg, the photographer. And she plays a former model who is now living on a little house by the beach on the East Coast, and a reporter comes out to interview her about her life, and it like just keeps hopping around in her life as like working up as a model and the industry and the way that it like beat her down and the way that she had successes and stuff like that. And it's a lot of like Faye Dunaway on like photo shoot sets, like working as a model. There's a great scene where there's like a young male model who's never really worked before, and she's a big star, and they have to be like very intimate in a scene, and he just can't do it, and so she takes him back to the dressing room and is like telling him about the Marlene Dietrich movie Shanghai Express, and she's like, do you remember that movie? Do you remember these scenes in it? And he's like, oh yeah, it was so hot. And she starts seducing him by talking about Shanghai Express, and then like starts like giving him a bit of a handy, and then as soon as he goes into it, she's like, all right, back on set, let's go, now you're in the headspace. It's so good. And when she's like deglammed and like was playing later in her life, it's deeply underrated. It was totally unavailable for a long time, but Kino put out a Blu-ray of it recently. I haven't seen it in a few years. I would love to revisit it, and you would eat this up with a spoon.
It sounds great.
If Eyes of Laura Mars was a melodrama, that's
it feels like everything she is in, she turns into a melodrama. That's what I'm saying. And I like it most of the time, but it's not a very grounded performance, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I think, I guess I'm biased because I like melodramatic Joan Crawford.
I do too. I guess I do too. You know who else reminds me of this is Piper Laurie, who is also good in a lot of things, but is also like a 1940s actress in a 1978 movie.
It took me a long time to really have an appreciation for that like Stella Adler method, like acting school level of acting. I've always just kind of found it like whatever. Like James Dean's hot, young Brando's hot. They give talented, impassioned, emotional performances. Young De Niro performances and Pacino performances are very emotional and very impactful. I get it. But I've always been drawn to Faye Dunaway and Joan Crawford, or like Cary Grant and Isabella Rossellini. And it's also part of the reason why I'm really attracted to like Guy Madden movies and stuff like that, because it's not approaching realism. It's using a mockery of realism to get at a more heightened emotion to read at a different way and to telegraph it differently to an audience, which I find more emotionally impactful in some situations.
I totally get it. I hear you completely. And I like it too. All I'm saying is that Faye Dunaway is always in a different movie than the rest of the cast. Do you know what I mean? Like, she is doing her own thing.
And the reason why that works so well in Network is that she's supposed to be playing the new guard of like the new up and coming producer. And this is what the young generation, they're fucking like vicious and have no fucking emotion. And they're like, will cut anyone's fucking heart out. And William Holden and John Finch or Peter Finch are just left to like drown as she steps over them and makes a TV show about fucking gorillas and shit. Like, I think she's great. I miss her, even though she is an absolute wackadoo and she's gotten really religious with age.
Really nice person. One of the best.
She and John Peters are both alive. And you know what? We're fans of both and we'd love to have them both on the podcast and we respect them both a lot.
If I was in a room with Faye Dunaway, I'd be shaking like a leaf. I would be
You'd be
so
shaking
terrified.
like your dog, Edie.
Yeah. I'd be so afraid of her.
I would walk straight up to her. I would. Because here's the thing. Being yelled at or insulted by Faye Dunaway is a badge of honor.
I get that's true. One time I saw Larry Kramer at MoMA, who I loved, and he scowled at me in the bathroom, and I was like, "Ooh, it felt like a kiss, like getting scowled at by Larry Kramer."
Meanwhile, like being yelled at by Chevy Chase is like, yeah, we get it.
Whatever.
Chevy Chase is gonna yell at everyone. What are you, his DoorDash delivery person? He's gonna yell at everyone. But like, ooh, Faye Dunaway called me a faggot. Ooh. That's going on my tombstone.
Drusilla Adeline, 1998 or whatever.
5.
20, I don't know when you're born. 20, whatever. Faye Dunaway called me a faggot.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Or like obituary, like born to a simple family in the eastern part of Indianapolis and was once described by famed Oscar winner Faye Dunaway as, quote, a faggot.
I wish that my Wikipedia was one sentence long and it was just that.
Which is this faggot, Faye Dunaway. One can dream.
One can dream.
My friend,
there's still time.
My friend who got to meet her is a writer, and she'd just gotten out of college at the time, and she met her when she was doing that a play right before she was fired. And Faye Dunaway like signed an autograph for her and like kind of looked her up and down and said, "Are you an actress?" And my friend was like very flattered and was like, No, I'm a writer and all stuff. And Faye Dunaway just went, "Good." Like handed it back to her, like out of competition, like Jenna Maroney.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I love when Jenna Maroney thinks that she's gonna move to LA and she gets off the plane at LAX and sees that everyone is a beautiful blonde, and she's like, "Shut it down,
shut it down." Goes home. I love when they're like convincing her to like vote in the election, which way to go. And they're like, but Democrats will like fund more art schools. And Jack's like, yeah, Democrats will fund more art schools. You want no more girls growing up to be artists. You want to be the only one. You need to be the only blonde girl.
I love that episode. And that's why I'm voting for Osama bin Laden or Obama bin Laden or whatever she says.
A debate? Like DeBarge? I love DeBarge.
Jenna Maroney is the best. Anything else to say about Laura Mars before we move on?
I think The Eyes of Laura Mars is an absolute banger. I think it's deeply, deeply cozy. If I want to have a like bowl of soup when I'm sick, I'm going to put on Eyes of Laura Mars to like get me through. And if you haven't seen it, you absolutely should, and be prepared to be turned on by every single person in this movie.
There's actually so few horror movies that are set in a big city that are about the art or fashion world or like kind of chic people. And I love them every time, and I get so few of them. So it all starts here.
Could you imagine a like contemporary New York City, like shot on 16 millimeter, like frenetic Safdie brothers esque, you know, Sean Price Williams cinematography esque kind of like Jenna Rollins-y, Cassavetes-y take on subject matter like this. It would be incredible.
Incredible.
That all I'm saying is write your script called Eyes that has nothing to do with this movie.
Yeah.
Listen, if Guillermo del Toro can get Best Picture for making his Creature from the Black Lagoon legally distinct, not Creature from the Black Lagoon, and if the Duffer Brothers can make millions of dollars off of Stranger Things after being told by Warner Brothers that they weren't going to let them do a remake of it,
yeah,
you can go make Eyes.
Well, let's play our favorite game, Have They Seen It, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I was just mentioning her a little while ago. Do you think Kristen Stewart saw this at any point? It's got lesbians in it.
It does have lesbians in it. I don't know.
I think she'd like it.
I feel like she would like it a lot. I know she has very arty taste. Very, very arty taste. But I also know you and I both have arty taste, but we also like a sleazy movie and we also like a cozy and pretty movie. I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say this is the kind of movie that like a friend gave her a DVD and was like, you need to go watch this movie.
Do you think she watched it in preparation for Personal Shopper? I don't know why I pair these movies in my head so much.
They absolutely make a lot of sense as a great double feature. I think probably. I don't think Olivier Zayas gave it to her on a list to prep for it.
But I feel like he would not like this movie.
No. I feel like she would have mentioned it to him on set and he would have gone, ugh, and walked away.
Totally agree.
Americans. This, as we have been talking about, is one of the like handful of American giallo movies that kind of like dabbles in the genre, and like the world of fashion is of course heavily tied to the like giallo genre from the fucking get-go. Obviously all those movies look gorgeous. Everyone is like, look how beautiful this actress is dressed and now she's getting murdered with an ice pick. Look at that, what a good time. Do you think the father of the genre, who literally started it off in a fashion house, Mario Bava, saw Eyes of Laura Mars?
Yeah, I mean, the other movie that you want to pair this with is Blood and Black Lace, right?
Oh, fucking obviously. It's screaming for it.
I think he would have seen this, right? I want to say like yes.
I feel like he would have seen this. I mean, he was still alive. I think he just made Rabid Dogs around this time, so he was kind of nearing the end of his output. I feel like he would see this. I feel like he would have kind of like had an amused smirk on his face, but would have been like, they can't do it like we do it. Like,
yeah, I think so. But I think he would appreciate it, and I think he would feel flattered because it is obviously in conversation with Italian giallo movies, and so I don't know. I'd like to think he would be flattered by it.
I think he would have a good time with it and find it cute and amusing. But I don't think it would be on his like end of the year poll or whatever. Like,
right. So when I looked at the letterbox for this, I saw someone say that it was like the most De Palma movie that De Palma didn't direct. So I want to know if Brian De Palma saw this. I probably so, yeah.
Oh, he absolutely fucking saw this movie. Oh, I have no evidence, but like he, especially like in 78, this was like around the time he was doing The Fury, right after Carrie and stuff like that. He absolutely would have seen this. And he worked for Columbia a few years later making Body Double. I think he absolutely would have seen this movie. And this is the kind of movie that I feel like he would have been. And he was friends with Carpenter. They're both alive. He's friends with Carpenter. Like, he knows Carpenter. So I feel like he would have had a lot of fun with it. He probably wrote John Carpenter a nice letter complimenting him, but also kind of being like, would love to see your version. Like,
do you think there's a world in which De Palma is annoyed by this movie? I mean, he hasn't yet made Dress to Kill or any of those kinds of movies yet, so it could feel.
But it was like right after Sisters.
Right. It could feel annoying to him because it's too close to the things that he's like thinking about.
I've seen so many interviews with him, and he's so kind of like mean and cantankerous about stuff, but like in like a jovial way. So I feel like he would have seen this and been like, "Oh, that's really fun. I can do better." I can
Same
see
way
him.
He was like, "Yeah, I can." What's the movie? He's like, "I can do this better," and it's like Psycho or whatever. It's like Alfred Hitchcock. He's like, "I'll do better than this master."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's always fucking trying to one-up Hitchcock. But with this one, I do feel like it's the kind of movie that he would watch and be like, yeah, I like doing this stuff. This stuff is good and should come back. But no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. This could get weirder. This could get sleazier. Like,
I feel like he'd also be annoyed that Faye Dunaway is never topless in the movie.
Well, also, for the most part, the murder victims are men.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Except for a hot lesbian couple.
Yeah. Much like Tenebrae. This movie, of course, is very much set in the world of the fashion industry, and there's someone at the peak of that industry that we've already mentioned on this podcast, who, rumor has it, may be stepping down soon. Do you think Anna Wintour has seen Eyes of Laura Mars?
You know, she was.
Do you think Anna Wintour needs a prisoner?
Anna Wintour for sure loves Barbra Streisand, I think.
Yeah. They're friends, famously.
She's quite cool in the 70s still. Not quite the,
the devil who wore
stateswoman. Yeah. Stateswoman of fashion. But still, I want to say no. I just feel like she doesn't like horror movies, probably, including like more arty farty ones. Like, I don't think that she would like I don't know. She might like Don't Look Now, maybe, is like the most horror movie I can see her liking.
I feel like she could get in for Don't Look Now. I feel like she could get in for like, I feel like she would dig like Cat People, but like not a Universal monster movie. But I also feel like nothing post Don't Look Now. I feel like if you were like, Anna, what'd you think of Hereditary? She would just walk away from you. Like,
yeah, she's not seen Hereditary. She's never seen anything that A24 has made, probably. But and I also think that her eye for fashion is so specific, and she's such a, she's the editor of Vogue, right? So I feel like the fashion in this movie would not be up to her standard, actually. Like,
I also feel like with it. Not only would the horror and supernatural elements of this movie keep her at bay, but if someone was like, but Anna, it's about a fashion photographer. It's about like, a photographer and set in the world of fashion and stuff like that. I feel like that would be more of a turnoff for her.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I felt that a lot of people I worked with felt that way about Mad Men when it was on the air, because I worked in advertising, and people were like, I cannot fucking watch that show, Yeah, but I loved it. I like when things are about me because I'm vain, I guess. But like,
well, I don't. Also have that with like, if someone tells me I'm really gonna like a movie or a filmmaker, I get very like, there's something about me that you see in this, and I'm afraid to reckon with that thing. And also there's like the fear of, whatever I'm putting out, people think that's going to connect with that. So when you then actually watch the thing and you don't like it, like, what does that say about the art and yourself and your friend that recommended that to you? So it's like better to just not watch it. But then, of course, like, I didn't watch Fassbinder and Almodovar for years because of that. And then, oops!
Right. Loved it's them. Like it could be like when your friend who doesn't like movies as much as you do is like, I saw this really arty movie you would like. It's called Donnie Darko. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it could be like that. Which Donnie Darko is a good movie and I like it. But I mean, it's just like kind of 101 for.
And you're like, yeah. I get it. Yeah.
That's probably how this is to Anna Wintour.
Yeah. It's like fucking like theater student. Like, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is funny to know that Barbra Streisand has actually seen this movie.
Do you think she regrets not doing it, or she's fine? I'm sure she's fine.
I'm sure she's fine. I think maybe she regrets allowing Prisoner to be in the movie. Prisoner was a fucking like top 10 hit. Like, it did really well. Like,
yeah,
better than the movie did.
Well, hope you enjoyed this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram or email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. Drusilla, where do people follow you these days?
Myself and my work is over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's a whole bunch of new stuff popping up over there, so go check that out, see what there is to see. And then you can follow me on Letterboxd. If you look for Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde on there, you can see why I've been watching the Kirsten Dunst movie Dick lately.
Love that movie.
Love that movie so much. It's so much better now that I know about Watergate.
Yeah,
when I saw it as a kid, I was like, man,
what?
Hold him, man. I don't even know him. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Sister Hyde. My new art for cruising is out. Speaking of
Yay,
new work,
congrats.
So you guys can go pre-order William Friedkin's Cruising with my art all over it, and a gorgeous new definitive edition from Era Video. Following the death of William Friedkin, it now has a lot of extra features. What about you, Josh? How can people go follow you out into the street? How can people look through the eyes of Joshua Conkel?
Oh, God. I'm at Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Joshua Conkel. Next week, we are going to Europe. And I think staying in the 70s, maybe the 60s. I can't quite recall.
1972.
What is the movie we're watching?
We are taking a step back in time to when the Czech Republic was Czechoslovakia. And we will be exploring another work from the director of The Cremator, Juraj Herz. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that.
Rural Juror.
Yeah. Urban Fervor. And his 1972 film, Morgiana.
Can't wait. Love that movie.
I'm excited to see it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.